Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. With us today is Bruce A. Berman, who in this session is going to get us started making money on eBay. This isn't about just cleaning out your garage. It's taking you all the way to becoming an eBay titanium power seller. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce A. Berman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here to talk about eBay. eBay is the biggest flea market in the world. How would you like to generate $150,000 a month? No, for real. And yes, legally. And it's all due to eBay, the internet auction giant that allows you to sell and buy anything. Did you know there's even a group of folks known as the eBay Titanium Power Sellers? A group composed entirely of people who generate a minimum of $150,000 a month in sales. Note the word minimum. Like all exclusive groups, it's not easy to get into, but I'm going to reveal their tricks and secrets to you. Just keep in mind that the overwhelming majority of them started from quite humble circumstances. So if they can do it, you can too. Here's a fact. Over 750,000 people, 750,000 people, the same number of people that live in San Francisco, now earn their primary or at least a secondary income from eBay transactions. My purpose here is to help you learn how to get started making money on eBay as well. Make no mistake, eBay is booming, and people from all walks of life are heading there to take advantage of this modern-day gold rush. And part of the appeal is the fact that the market and brand is known throughout the world, limitless in potential, and global in market reach. Retired or soon-to-be retired baby boomers are flocking to eBay in record numbers. For many, buying and selling on eBay has become an interesting and sometimes lucrative hobby. Others are using eBay as a way to supplement meager retirement income and or to help compensate for lost or drastically reduced pensions. Still others see it as a way to realize long-standing entrepreneurial dreams. People who have never given any thought to starting their own businesses are finding it simple to do so on eBay. Even some successful and well-established retail business owners have decided to take advantage of eBay's low costs and global market potential. Of course, even the power sellers started small. Some of them believe that the best way to begin your eBay venture is by becoming a buyer rather than a seller. To learn the ins and outs, bidding practices and policies and so forth, and use that knowledge to begin making money on your own. I'm going to give you a little mini history on eBay. For those of you who know very little, if anything, about eBay, I'm going to begin with some background information. First of all, in the next hour, you are going to learn everything you need to know about buying or selling on eBay. To do business on eBay, you do not have to buy expensive software, pay monthly fees to one of these eBay training institutes or eBay partner networks. Those are just people trying to make a buck, charging you for what eBay and I will help you with for free. You will learn everything you need to know in the next hour. The good news is that any question you have after this hour, I will show you how to get eBay to answer them for you for free. There is no way Pierre Amador could have known what he was setting in motion when in 1995 he bought an obscure website called Auction Web, which he would eventually transform into what we know today as eBay. At the time, Mr. Amador's idea seemed at best foolish. He wanted to set up a place where everything, well, almost everything, could be bought and sold at a fair market price. He wanted to create a perfect market where individuals could be the consumers as well as the producers of goods. Nobody, except Mr. Amador, thought it would work. Nobody believed that strangers would trade online with other strangers, particularly in an auction-type format. And it is true that in the very beginning, the only customers were techie types who wanted to buy and sell computer parts. But that changed when collectors of every stripe and variety discovered the enormous marketing potential for eBay. Fast forward a little over 10 years. Today, eBay has more than 75 million users who will conduct more than $50 billion in transactions this year alone. True to Mr. Amador's original vision, eBay has remained a democratic enterprise. Individuals, occasional users, and regular sellers and buyers, to small businesses, to large corporations, all use eBay. Although no one would describe eBay as a perfect market, it is generally accepted on Main Street and on Wall Street that eBay has revolutionized both pricing and the market value of merchandise. Beyond individual transactions, well over 750,000 Americans now use eBay as either a primary or a secondary income. eBay is not just a place to sell your old toaster, collection of marbles or baseball cards, or your father's old Cadillac. For millions of people, eBay is now a career choice. Before you start counting your eBay profits, however, let's go over a few of the basic points on how and why eBay works. Basic eBay 101. By itself, eBay neither sells nor buys anything. eBay is an online auction forum where people with things to sell can easily get in touch with people with money to buy things. It is particularly a great place to buy hard-to-find items, i.e. collector's items, antiques, or simply get a better price than you would in a local store. Since you need to spend time researching, watching, bidding, and selling, it is best to have your own computer with internet access. If you do not own a computer, you can visit eBay from work, a local library, or a friend's computer and see if eBay is for you before investing and purchasing a computer. eBay has become such a vast, gaping maw of merchandise that it is understandable that many people find their first forays into eBay to be intimidating, even a little frightening. There's no need to worry. With some basic information, you can become quite comfortable buying, selling, and trading in the largest e-commerce retail enterprise on record to date. Like the home shopping channels, only better since there's far more variety, eBay has turned shopping from your home without ever leaving your bathrobe into kind of a retail art form. Based on reports from its most frequent users, the people who use eBay are friendly types, some of whom enjoy swapping stories as much, well, maybe not quite as much, as selling and bidding on stuff. eBay is one gigantic online traditional auction. You have an item you want to sell, and you post it, put it up for sale on eBay. You set a price for that item. However, the value of that item is determined entirely by what someone else is willing to pay for it. If you're lucky, and depending on how many people are interested in your item, you could get perhaps more than your asking price. Your grandmother's old toaster may be just a dust-catching eyesore to you, but to somebody out there in eBay land, it may also be a very valuable antique, depending on its condition and whether or not it can still deliver the goods, toast-wise. Bidding takes place over a specified period of time, a day, a week, sometimes longer. So you are in suspense until the last minute as to how much your item will bring. For many people, that suspense is half the fun of eBay. The other half, to paraphrase Yogi Berra, is collecting the money. Note, as a buyer, you don't have to participate in the eBay auction process. If you find an item that you positively, absolutely must have regardless of price, you can use what's called the eBay Buy It Now option, BIN, which allows you to buy it at the BIN price set forth by the seller. The BIN price is the price the seller is hoping the auction will close at, the ideal selling price. You get to buy the item without the hassle of the bidding process and possibly being outbid and losing out on winning the auction. Experienced eBay sellers can create online stores of merchandise set aside for BIN purchasers. This merchandise is covered by the same fraud protection policy that applies to regular eBay transactions. I will get into more detailed discussion of fraud and protection and the eBay protection later. There is yet another option a seller can offer, which is best offer, where the buyer makes an offer to the seller to buy the item at a certain price. The seller then has the right to accept or deny the offer and respond. If your offer is good enough, the seller is unlikely to refuse. Again, do not make an offer so low that you insult the seller, as the object is to have a positive outcome for both sides. Remember, you always have the capability to contact the seller directly if you have any questions about price or shipping cost. Getting started on eBay. Although you can browse the eBay treasure trove without becoming a registered eBayer, registration is simple and free, so you might as well do it. At the top of the eBay home webpage, click on Register. Fill in the form provided, name, address, and so forth. Be sure to include an email address and primary, and if you have one, secondary phone numbers. This information is critical for sellers and winning bidders. Next, choose your eBay user ID and password. Especially if you're planning to become a regular buyer and seller on eBay, think carefully about the user ID you choose. Don't choose an ID that you might find cute, because the cuteness of which may be lost on potential buyers. Same holds true for humor. Keep it low key. A user ID that you find hilarious may fall like lead on the ears of a potential buyer. Don't choose anything that sounds too strange, and certainly nothing with a negative connotation. Remember, your user ID will be on the pages that display the items you're trying to sell, next to any bids you make on merchandise for sale, displayed on your feedback profile, on your About Me page if you choose to set one up, as well as appearing anywhere you chat online at eBay. Your user ID is crucial, so make sure it is simple, easy to remember, and it reflects your interest or interests. For example, if you're hooked on paper clips, you might choose Paperclip Demon 001 or something along that line. Never choose a user ID that is a website like www.paperclipdemon001.com. This will be rejected by the eBay system. If you're entering eBay with a goal of going into business, choose a user ID that reflects your business focus. Example, 1960 Collectible Genius, or Bogart and Bacall fan. If you create a user ID that contains more than one word, make sure the words can be easily typed, recognized, and understood without spaces. Since user IDs are displayed in lowercase, you need not bother to include capital letters. Also, it's a good idea to leave out punctuation. If 1960 Collectible Genius is rejected because someone else already has selected that name, you may be able to add a number like 1960s Collectible Genius 2. That will allow the system to accept your ID choice. As for choosing a password, keep it simple. Something you will remember and nothing too obvious. All passwords are in lowercase as well. After you've provided all the information required, click Continue. If the email address you provided comes through an ISP to which you pay a monthly fee, the system will send you directly to terms. If, however, the email address you provide is one of the dozens of free accounts like Hotmail, Yahoo, and so forth, the system will direct you to a web form requesting a credit or debit card number and name and billing address. Free email service accounts do not, as a rule, require that the user provide proof of identity. To conduct transactions on eBay, however, eBay wants to verify that the name and address you provided matches the billing address on your credit/debit card. Note, your credit or debit card number will not be stored on eBay until or if you set up an eBay seller's account. Next, read the terms. Then if you agree, click Agree. You will receive an email by which you must confirm your registration. Let's get into making money the eBay way. There are many reasons for buying and selling on eBay, as there are buyers and sellers. Whether you're interested in supplementing your income, starting a full-time business, or just picking up a few bucks by getting rid of some old eyesores that have been taking up too much space in your attic, garage, closet, basement, etc. for way too long, it doesn't matter. Making money on eBay has become big business, and there are no signs of a slowdown. Know also that most of the people who are now considered power sellers began working with eBay primarily as a hobby or a source of secondary income. As the old song goes, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Some ask, what do I need to get started? Well, you need a more or less up-to-date computer with a keyboard, mouse, internet connection, preferably a high-speed connection to make your experience quicker and not have pages that lag in loading. You need a digital camera, a scanner. Not a must, but a nice extra is a cordless phone so that you can walk around, make yourself a cup of coffee or something while placing an order or dealing with a customer and so forth. And last, but definitely not least, shipping supplies, i.e. boxes, bubble wrap, packing tape, postal scale, tape measure. Ideally, you'll want to dedicate some space in your home to your eBay business. It doesn't have to be a huge space, unless you're selling patio furniture and antique elevators. Just enough space for your computer, a couple of filing cabinets. You will need to set up a good filing system and keep accurate records, and some office supplies. If you're uncertain, as a lot of people are at first, about whether you want to make your eBay business venture a full-time project, then start on a part-time basis. Unlike traditional businesses that require written business plans and extensive preparation, you can begin on eBay by simply setting some modest goals for yourself. For the time being, set a date by which you plan to begin selling one item a week. That doesn't sound like much, but it's a reasonable goal until you get your eBay sea legs under you and begin to feel more comfortable with both the buying and selling process. The most important step is to start now. Don't wait. Remember, the advantage of eBay is that you already have a global marketplace literally at your fingertips. If there was ever a business where the phrase time is money is applicable, it's eBay. Okay, let's say you've assembled all the materials you need to begin. Now, stop, look, and research. This is as good a time as any to study the eBay website carefully. There are categories and subcategories and sub-subcategories. New categories are added all the time to meet the demands of new users with new interests. There are specialty sites, some featuring items that will be sold without bidding, others featuring big-ticket items such as cars, fine arts, etc. Even sites on which freelance professionals are looking for work and those interested in hiring put in bids. There are featured auctions where sellers pay extra money to post their items at the top of a particular category of merchandise. There are charity auctions where the proceeds benefit worthwhile organizations. There are spotlight areas where new promotions and events are advertised. Spotlights may change from day to day. And of course, there are international auction sites. You may think you already have some idea of how much is being made available on eBay every day. Believe me, your best guess isn't even close. In its first full year, approximately 28,000 items were listed for sale on eBay. Last year saw over 60 million listings per day. 60 million listings per day. If nothing else, sheer volume of merchandise alone dictates that you study the eBay website carefully before beginning any transactions. Listen to the free eBay CD you receive at the end of the seminar. Listen to it several times. In fact, place it in your car and listen to it when you drive. The more you know, the more you can position yourself to make the most out of your eBay experience. In addition to the merchandise searches, be sure to check out the announcement board for any new information. eBay gear where you can browse for, and if you're so inclined, buy eBay merchandise. eBay Anywhere, which will show you how to access eBay from a remote wireless hookup. eBay affiliate programs for those who want to link eBay to their own business website. About eBay, which gives you background information on eBay itself. eBay payments, a description of payment methods on eBay, and rules and safety, where your concerns about possible fraud and privacy issues are addressed. This is very important. Feedback. It's the key to mining dollars on eBay. One of the most important components of eBay is the feedback forum. This is where you'll build your reputation among other eBay buyers and sellers. It's also where you can find out about them as well. Although providing feedback is not a requirement, it is the only way to build an all-important feedback rating. To the extent possible, the feedback rating tells you how satisfied customers were with the merchandise you sold and your general business conduct. It's also where you go to check out sellers before you buy. Success on eBay depends largely on building an impeccable reputation for fairness, accuracy, honesty, and fair dealing. You wouldn't shop in a store with a bad reputation, would you? Likewise, you are highly unlikely to do business with unreliable, untrustworthy buyers, untrustworthy sellers who don't pay as promised or who misrepresent the merchandise they sell. To build a good reputation as a seller and hence get positive feedback, contact the buyer as soon as the auction ends. Send out the item immediately after payment is received. Package it carefully and well. Don't spare expenses on shipping and packaging. Make 110% sure that the item is precisely and clearly what you stated it would be and in the condition promised. There is no room for slip-ups here. If there's a problem, if the buyer doesn't receive the item on time, or if the buyer is dissatisfied, address the problem immediately and courteously. Though it shouldn't be necessary to say this, never lie about the merchandise or post pictures that do not accurately depict the item. Never take the money and then conveniently forget to ship the item. Never try to save money through shoddy packaging so that the item arrives in a crushed box or otherwise damaged. Customer service is as critical, if not more so on eBay, as in any storefront retail establishment. If buyers go away unhappy, they are unlikely to come back to buy from you again, and if the word spreads that you're an unreliable seller, you're sunk. As a buyer, send your payment out without delay. Keep in touch with the seller via email or by phone if he or she prefers. Entering into an auction is a binding commitment to sell or buy that specific item. If the check you send in payment for bounces, make good on that check immediately. Be courteous with the seller if you find that you're not satisfied with a purchase. Email the seller and be specific about why you are displeased. Blowing your top is unlikely to help. Unreasonable, bad-tempered buyers get feedback too, and not the good kind. Another basic auctioning rule is that you cannot ask the seller for a refund simply because you changed your mind or found a better deal elsewhere. But you can and should request a replacement or refund should the item not be what was represented or damaged. Feedback is short. With a one-line response, you're limited to 80 characters. In general, there are 3 types of feedback. There is good feedback, very professional. Merchandise arrived on time as promised. Excellent quality. Then there's neutral feedback. Good quality merchandise, not delivered in time promised. Unresponsive to emails, although merchandise delivered. Slow payment time, even though merchandise was sent. And of course, bad feedback. Received damaged merchandise. Seller never responded. Buyer never paid. Sent several emails. Bad track record. Here's the worst. Don't sell to this eBayer. You won't get paid. Although it's critical to provide feedback, know also that your feedback is final and you cannot change your mind about what you said later on. So be sure on your feedback comments before you list them. eBay will not remove or revise comments just because you've had a chance to think it over, you've cooled off, and decided that you're not so unhappy after all. So if you leave a negative comment, it stays. Even if you realize later you were wrong and then you have maligned a buyer or seller unjustly. eBay gives you the option to respond to negative feedback, and it's a good idea to use that option. Although your response won't change another person's feedback, it will give your side of the story, which can make a tremendous difference. Bottom line, if you're going to do business on eBay, whether regularly or only on occasion, be prepared to become part of the feedback forum by leaving feedback and by using that forum as a reference when you are considering a transaction. Finally, as with other businesses, there are some basic rules with which you need to be familiar before starting out. Basic rules for eBay sellers. Federal laws require that any product, service, or article advertised on eBay, as well as the terms and conditions of the purchase or sale, must be advertised honestly and accurately. When you sell an item, you must ship the merchandise to the customer within the time frame agreed upon. If you and the buyer did not specify a time frame, then the rule is you automatically have 30 days to ship the merchandise. But if you won and paid for an item and are eager to receive it, how long would you want to wait? A power seller ships out within 48 hours of receiving payment. Keep in mind, federal law prohibits the auctioning of any illegal goods, products, or services on eBay. Each time you list an item for auction, you must provide a description of that item. Be clear, concise, and above all, absolutely honest. Always set the minimum bid at the lowest price you are willing to accept and state clearly who will pay for shipping and what your policy will be with regards to returns. Anticipate as many questions a potential buyer may have as possible. Respond immediately to questions. Keep accurate records of all details involving the transaction, including emails from the bidder or the auction site and phone calls, if any. Contact the winning bidder immediately to confirm acceptance of the bid and the agreed upon details, as well as get paid for the item. The most common way of making payment is with credit cards or PayPal. PayPal is a company that acts as the intermediary between buyer, seller, banks, and credit card companies in aiding the payment process. Be very careful, even leery, of buyers who insist on using escrow or online payment services with you that you're not familiar with. Never agree to such an arrangement if you have not thoroughly investigated the escrow or payment service. Read very carefully the terms of the agreement. If the escrow or online payment service requires that you set up an account, this should be an immediate red flag, since legitimate services never have such a requirement. Some people think accepting credit cards is difficult and an expensive process. It's not. Write this website address down: www.bankmpi.com. That's Mary Paul India. www.bankmpi.com. If you want to set up your own credit card account and be able to accept credit cards, all you need to do is go to that website and click their Apply Now button, and you can be accepting credit cards in as quick as 24 hours. It's that easy. BankMPI.com specializes in setting up credit card accounts for people just like you who want to become sellers and accept credit cards on eBay. So, what if you're still a little computer or internet shy? For those of you who are still intimidated by basic computer technology or the massive eBay website, eBay lists registered training assistants to help you through the initial setup and navigations. The company also trains specialists who offer classes to help you get started on eBay. Still, most people find it comparatively easy to begin on their own. If they do encounter questions down the road, help from the eBay company is easily and readily available. After you've familiarized yourself with eBay in general, use the "What are you looking for?" search window on the homepage to locate items of interest. Begin with just a few keywords. Depending on what you're looking for, the initial results may include thousands and thousands of items. Then to find what you're looking for, you can add the brand name, style, or size to bring up a search that is shorter and closer to what you are seeking. There is also the advanced or smart search feature that can help you to narrow and specialize your searches. Also, in the process of searching eBay, you will occasionally see links marked tips or more tips. Use them freely, as they will help you to further narrow your search and zero in on the item or items of your interest. There are, of course, a number of ways to search for an item if you already know specifically what it is. You can search by category, by the name of the item, by the item number, by the seller's name, by the names of the bidders, by completed items. For example, identical or similar items have been sold on eBay in the past. You can also do an international search if you're interested in finding out about items available for auction in other countries. Especially if your eBay plans are long-term, you'll want to set up a My eBay page where you will keep track of all your eBay activities. There you can maintain information on what you buy and sell and your bids. Okay, let's get into the sizzle of selling. If you're like millions of other people starting out on eBay, your first question is probably, what do I sell? Well, look around. Start in the basement, also known as the Bermuda Triangle of most homes. If your basement is like most, it's filled with that stuff that for whatever reason you stopped using years ago, but could never bring yourself to give away or throw away. Maybe you even promised yourself you would sell a few things, but it always seemed like more trouble than it was worth. Well, not anymore. Your view of your immediate surroundings, and with luck, your checking account balance, is about to change. Maybe not dramatically at first, but certainly for the better. There isn't a person anywhere who hasn't received a GIF or two, or 7 that should be filed under I for it was the thought that counted. What about that faux porcelain hippo from your Aunt Bertha, or that bright yellow dining room table centerpiece shaped rather unfortunately like a dying swan, or that faux gold-covered eagle wall ornament? Look in your closets. Where are the things relatives have given you that you only pull out for display when the relative in question is coming for a visit, because they might ask what happened to the red satin pillow with "Greetings from Bermuda" stitched on it in green and purple? Are you getting the point of where to start? Got any old, no longer used small appliances? Even if they don't work anymore, there may be a buyer for them on eBay. Old clothes that may have gone out of style or that no longer fit, more likely the choice, are also popular among sellers. So are old cell phones, VCRs, DVD players, and hundreds of other electronic gadgets. The point is, we all have things we'd love to get rid of, things that we are even too embarrassed to give away to charity. If you can find somebody to buy 1 or 2 of those things, whatever they are, you're on your way. From the day you make your first sale, you will never throw anything away again without first thinking to yourself, I wonder how much I could get for that on eBay. The price you can reasonably post an item for is easy to determine by simply searching eBay to find out what other sellers are asking for similar items. Trust me, somewhere on eBay, someone is selling something, if not identical, at least remarkably similar to whatever you're trying to sell. Remember, 60 million postings a day. So let's say you found an item you want to sell. eBay makes the listing process simple for you. Next, we're going to talk about setting up your eBay seller account so you can get on your way to making money selling on eBay. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to making money on eBay. For those of you who are ready to continue, I will see you back here for the second half of my Making Money on eBay seminar. That seminar will immediately be followed with my massive internet income seminar, which will take you to the next level of making money Big money.